live. Do we have any audio? Gonna check if we got audio. There may be a quick little echo in a second.
We are live.
Okie dokie. Sorry about that echo. Just checking to make sure I have audio going through. As you can tell by the name of the stream here, I am going to be showing how I get Newsboat up and running. For those that don't know, Newsboat is a terminal-based RSS feed reader that I've recently started to use. Hey, the Lamer, how you doing? This is going to be a quick video, as I do have to be up kind of early tomorrow morning. But yeah, what can I say? I've come to enjoy doing this. Tomorrow I'll do, if I have time after work tomorrow, I'll do my initial Arch setup to show how I get certain things like Yay and AUR working, and how to install certain AUR packages. I get my ZSH set up. By the way, happy 4th of July, anybody who's out there. Nice, Lamer. I got milk and some Reese's peanut butter cups. That's my... By the way, this stream is not brought to you by Reese's peanut butter cups, although they're welcome to sponsor this show if they want, as they are the best thing in the world. However, back to the point. Yeah, I hope you guys are safe if you're out celebrating. I just got off of work. Unfortunately, I did have to work today. It was time and a half, so I mean, nothing to shake a stick at. And I do gotta be up kind of early tomorrow, so this is just gonna be a short one. Anyway, as the title suggests, I'm gonna be talking about Newsboat, which is an RSS feed reader, and how to get any YouTube channel to work with it. And so the best thing to do is open up a terminal. It's not for everybody, I guess. I do like Hershey's bars as well. But anyway, here we go. The best thing to do is open up a terminal and you type in Newsboat. And as you can tell, I already have a few feeds here. Basically, I downloaded DT distro from the channel DistroTube. I downloaded his config file just as like a springboard to see how it's set up, to see, like, you know, the proper syntax and whatnot. And I just added a few things of my own. So we've got a few things up here for text-based news here. We got distro watch up here, and just hit enter. By the way, just use arrow keys to navigate through it, and it'll give you the the feed here. And so to go back, I just hit Q for quit. I'm not gonna hit it again, but anyway, there's some news here that's gonna give you links at the bottom, and you can see it's got 1, 2 right here at the bottom. And to get that to open, I believe the keyboard shortcut, and you can hit question mark, so I hit shift question mark to get this. This will give you a list of a list of like how to get things going. And as you can tell down here, it gives you a list of numbers, and I had to check this just to be sure. But it appears that to open up a link, you just gotta hit 1, and I have it set to automatically open the link's text-based web browser by default. Because most of it is text, and I've come to enjoy the plain text minimal like mindset. Although links doesn't work with everything. You know, it's not going to work with YouTube or whatever. It's not going to display images. But it works. Keeps things clean there. So yeah, back to the point. I do have a couple YouTube channels here, or a few YouTube channels here, and we'll try. I got my channel here. I say enter, and just to show that it will work with a live stream even, as long as it's already streaming. If it won't sit there and wait, say waiting for like it will on YouTube, but as long as it's already streaming, it will open it up, and I have it set for MPV. So as you can tell, it's streaming my live stream now, right now. You might have a little bit of an echo going on there, but yeah, you know, point proven. It works here, and it does that with any video. So, how did I get this set up to do this? You might ask. Well, there is a config file, as most things in the terminal do. And I'll open it up in Mousepad. Normally I would use NeoVim or NVim, but if only. I mean, I know certain things won't work in a text-based browser, but I think 1 gig per tab is a little bit ridiculous. And like, I think the least you can do, the least that we can do as an internet community, is get it down to at least 512 megs per tab. Right? At least cut it in half. You know, that seems reasonable to me. But I know not even that's going to happen. So I just use the text-based browser when I can. You know, but it's not something I do, you know, all the time, because I can't. But so anyway, you go down here in .config, and you're gonna find in your home folder, you're gonna find a folder called .config, and you're gonna find a folder in here called Newsboat. And as you can tell, I have a few files here. I have a config file, config.backup in case I bork something, and I have a URLs file. And if you go in here to the URLs file, you can see a list of URLs, and first you start with the link, and whatever you put in this format here in quotation marks followed by the tilde will show up first. So let me open up Newsboat. By the way, this is how does that work out for you? So yeah, I'm going to open up Newsboat here again. By the way, this is a Luke Smith i3 block here. Hey Steve, how you doing? Happy 4th. Happy Independence Day. I should start saying that. Yeah, so as you can tell here, whatever shows up here in the quotation marks followed by the tilde shows up first. Followed by the name of the channel. So it says News Feed Distro Watch. It gives me a list of new, unread, followed by the total. Anyway, the way that you would get YouTube to work is you have to find one of these links here. As you can tell, it says youtube.com/feed/videos.xml !channel _ID followed by the channel's ID. And this works for most. You blew it up, man. You blew it up. It's easy to do on the first few tries, like if you're not familiar with it. Yeah, the reason I'm doing this is because some channels when you open it up, I'm just going to go to a new workspace here. I'll check the chat in a minute, but yeah, matter of fact, I'm going to go into it with Chromium. I found that a bit easier to find this in Chromium. Anyway, some channels are easy enough. You just copy it. It has a channel ID, and you just tweak the link a little bit so that it looks for a feed instead of the actual channel itself. But let's go to a channel that I have subscribed to, and okay, so we'll start with TOS, Total OS Today, which is a channel I recommend that anybody starting off in Linux checks out this channel here. Okay, so as you can tell, I have his channel in, whoops, sorry, I'm still fumbling around this new keyboard here. Oh, thanks for the subscribe, Gnostic. I have to thank DistroTube too. Derek subscribed to my channel too after my live Arch install. I guess he likes to see us hurt with Linux. I guess that's the key to get his sub. Although it didn't hurt all that bad. As you guys saw, I was able to install Arch while upholding a conversation with you guys. But anyway, I do have Total OS here today as one of my YouTube RSS feeds. So the question is, how did I get his channel ID? How did I get that? Right, some channels will have the ID right in the link here, up top. Some channels like this one don't, and I for the life of me don't know how to change that. For example, my channel has my ID right in the link. And so to get my channel as an RSS feed, it'll be easy enough. You just copy this and you would paste it here, which I already have done because I have my channel here. And whoops, let me go back up here. And so what you would do is you would paste it here under like wherever you want it, and you would just go delete channel, change that to feeds, basically copy what the rest of them look like. XML question mark channel ID equals, and because it was my own channel, it brought all that extra stuff. But if you're just doing it from a regular channel, it wouldn't have done that. So you want to keep it with just plain ID, and then you can, you know, write out the title at the end of it, and voila, you got your channel there. But as we saw with Toss's channel, and matter of fact, Steve is in the chat. I'll check his channel, see if his channel has his ID on it, and I'll show how to get it if I need it. Nope, his has the channel plus the ID, so you can easily tweak it to make it. So we're just doing it with tosses here. What you want to do, there are some websites that will automatically find it for you, but sites like that will come up and drop. They'll come and go like yesterday's socks or something. So the best thing to do is to go down here, you right click on the page, and I'm doing this in Chromium, but this will work in Firefox as well. You want to hit view page source, and you're going to get this mumbo jumbo mess. Right, it looks like jibber jabber, and I'm not a coder, so I don't know what any of this means. But if you go into find in page, right? So I hit Control F to get that. And you type in RSS. You're going to want to look for this here, where it says RSS URL. And it's going to give you the exact link. And so all you have to do is take this all the way down to the channel ID and just copy that. And so as you can tell, I do have Toss's stream already here. So as you can tell, I'm going to paste it right underneath where I already have his, so you can see it's going to be identical. Minus the quotation marks. I forgot that I didn't need those. So we'll just get rid of those. And as you can tell, it's identical. So I got the right one. And so that's how you would find it. And the reason I showed that was because I was racking my brain trying to figure out how to get certain channels into my feed. And I finally found that trick. So the way it works is just go into your Newsboat. You go down to the channel that you're looking for. So we're experimenting with Toss. Toss, this is a shout out to you. And it looks like he has a new video out. I watched it. You're going to hit enter to get into it. The comma initializes a macro. And I have MPV set as a macro to M. So if I hit M after hitting comma, it's going to go ahead and open that video in MPV. And as I demonstrated before, it also works with live streams as long as the live stream is already going. I still open up the chat. Take care, Lamer. I still open up the pop-out chat with Firefox or Chrome and put it to the side when I'm watching a live chat. But yeah, that's how I get it to work. And so I guess the next thing I should show is how do I set the hotkeys. And the way you do that is in the same directory, home.config/newsboat, you're going to find a file called config. And most of this I took it from Luke Smith's GitHub, with the exception of this one line down here. I set a macro to M, set browser, quotation marks, double quotes, MPV. I have it set to open up on the current monitor, whatever display I'm running it on. It's going to open on it. It's going to hit auto fit. It's going to auto fit it to 70% of my screen. And then I guess this one here, the semicolon? Yeah, that's what it's called. You could tell I did great in grammar school. Open in browser, and that just tells it, I guess, to open it in the selected browser, which is MPV. And I set my default browser to links here. Here's where I guess the colors are set. I might play with that later. I don't know if I like those colors. But yeah, that's how I have Newsboat set up. And it works very nicely for me. And you know, I did try out Toss's the app that Toss uses. Matter of fact, no, I'm not gonna save that. I was just messing around with it. I did try out the ticker feed. That was the thing that Toss uses. Matter of fact, I'll open it now so I can show what I do, because I haven't really figured it out all that great yet. I guess it's not going to cooperate today. But yeah, I forgot how I got that working. I'll maybe play with it later, but The few times that I did get it working, I found the actual feed to be quite intrusive. Um, the feed would overlap my active windows, and I wouldn't be able to get to, let's say, if there's a menu bar up here, I would end up clicking the news feed instead of what I was going for, and I just found it to be, hey, Derek, we were just mentioning you. I I was showing off the Newsboat config file that I used your config file or your URLs file as like a springboard to get mine going. Yes, yes, happy 4th. Happy 4th. Happy Independence Day, everyone, if you celebrate it. If you're in the States, people ask me all the time, hey, are you free on Saturday? And I tell them, of course I'm free. I'm an American. What kind of question is that? Of course I'm free. But I have to go to work. No, I did take and this i3 block up here. It is Luke Smith's i3 block. I took it from his GitHub. And mod keys on the opposite side of the keyboard now. Still getting used to that. But anyway, remember where that is. It's in USR user library, and we're going to search for i3 blocks. And the name of I think it's called News. And so all it does is it opens up, if I click it, it just opens up Kitty and executes Newsboat. Haven't really figured out these two yet. So when I right click it, it just gives me this weird thing. And so I'm still trying to figure out some things, but all I really need is that first function. So it works perfectly fine for me. Yeah, so as you can tell, I just click it, and it opens up the Newsboat. And you probably recognize this, Derek. It is your URLs file with a couple of added URLs from my own subscriptions. But I did use that, the one I got from your GitLab page to learn like the syntax of how to get an RSS feed into it and how to get it going. Yeah, Gnostic, I concur with that. I'm one of those crazy Ron Paul and the Fed kind of guys. Yeah, so that's Newsboat. So maybe I'll stick around for a quick chat. I do got to be up kind of early for a morning shift tomorrow, so I won't be on for too long. But if anybody in the chat wants to talk about anything, we can. Just for a bit. Yes, it is a mug. Right now it has milk in it. Maybe there are some newsworthy stories here. Take a look at DistroWatch. Whonix. Yes, Eric, the install was a success. For the record, I do run Vanilla Arch as my main daily driver. So, installing an Arch system is not like something new to me or something I would have any like issue. There was one hiccup that that did take place. Um, the package manager was looking for an older package version in the repository, and no matter how many times I refreshed the databases, it was still looking for that out of date one, and so I was having trouble installing the desktop environment. However, it was easily remedied. I installed the Lynx web browser and displayed how it does have its place. I went to the Arch website through Lynx, downloaded the package right from the Arch's website, and I installed it manually. Yes, it does. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Derek. It is a lot. It looks a lot harder than it is, and I think maybe back in the day, rolling releases were maybe a little more unstable than they are today. Maybe they did deserve the rap they got, but I'm gonna try to make it. I was honestly torn. I was torn because they were talking about installing Regolith, which is an Ubuntu-based i3 distribution, and Arch, and I was torn. I was like, do I want to make them try to run i3, or do I want to try to make them run Arch? And I was just like, oh. I was like, I'm not gonna. We'll do Regolith next week. How about that? I wanted to take a look at it on my spare laptop, just to see what it is about. Because I've never tried i3 in another family other than Arch. Yes, it is. Because not only do you say, by the way, I run Arch, nowadays people like to say, by the way, I run i3. Which, i3 gets a pretty bad rap for being kind of difficult too. Yeah, I like i3 because I like the tiling window manager, but I'm not a programmer. So like I'm not good with coding and stuff like that. So for me, my window manager has to be like the config file has to be written in like plain enough language for me to understand how to tweak it, and i3 does that for me. So that's part of the reason why I chose it. I might give another one a try, but for now this one functions pretty well for me. Especially with Luke Smith helped out a lot with getting it configured with his i3 blocks and stuff like that. Yeah, no, all things considered, I think that rolling releases, this install of Arch that I have now, matter of fact, I'm going to prove this to you right now, has been running since January, since I bought the machine. And I want to show you, guys, how many Linux kernel updates it went through. January 4th was, I guess, the install date when I installed the system. We went from 4.20 all the way up to 5.1.16 now. And I counted all these, and I think there was 46. So I guess that would count for 45 updates. 46 if you include the initial installation. And it's still working. I still haven't had any issues with kernel updates. The only time I've had an issue with Arch and the kernel updates is when I had a Broadcom chipset. Every kernel update meant a kernel panic at the next reboot. And the way I solved that problem was by never buying another laptop with Broadcom. Never had the issue again. Not even with NVIDIA. Right, this system has an NVIDIA Quadro, which isn't like the most powerful NVIDIA card, but it is still NVIDIA, and it's a nightmare to work with any distribution. But it's NVIDIA Optimus, so that makes it even more of a nightmare. But I found this neat little tool in the AUR called Optimus Manager, and it made running Optimus a breeze for me. It was the only way I can get it working properly. And I have to have it booted into the NVIDIA card. Yeah, I wish somebody warned me. But this is the only way I can get a powerful enough machine within my price range. And I bought this ThinkPad. It's a ThinkPad W530. It's the same one that Spatry used for a while. And it was actually him on one of his videos that spurred me to look into it. Yeah, if this arch ever breaks on me, I'll probably go Manjaro if I'm feeling lazy. The reason I chose Arch was because until I got Arch working on the system, I felt defeated. Like I didn't want it to beat me. So I took the challenge. I'm like, I'm at least going to get it working at least once. And I did, and it's been running ever since. But no, I just like the Arch family. There's certain things I like about Arch, but you can get that. You can get the same advantages in Manjaro, really, in my opinion. Like to me, it's a centralization of all the software availability, no dependency loops or dependency cycles like I used to get in other distros. Now, those are the things that got me stuck on Arch, that got me glued on it. And Arch literally cured my distro hopitis like 4 or 5 years ago. Hey Ben, how you doing? Yeah, I agree, Derek. Manjaro is a powerful distribution. It is. I gotta give him credit. And I know there are a lot of Arch purists out there, like, oh, if you don't run pure Arch, you're not a... I'm not one of those. Right? The things I like about Arch, you can get really in Manjaro. I haven't run Arco as much as I should have, and I haven't taken like a serious look at it. I tried Antergos once, but I had issues with it. It didn't want to install, and I found the finished product after Antergos installed it on my system to be confusing, because I didn't know what it installed, when it didn't install, and I was just like, well... Yeah, Manjaro's forums are pretty good. Back when I was running the Manjaro, the Deepin Community Edition, I had an issue with Deepin. And the issue was like the volume spiral thing, the circle thing that you control the volume with on the Deepin dock wasn't working right. And there's a couple other components that were, screwing up on me. So I went to the Manjaro forum, and the developer of that particular community edition was already on it. And it turns out the issue was coming from Deepin itself, like the Deepin developers. And so it turned out they already knew about it, and they were already working on it. And I give them props for that. And every time I've been to their forums to help somebody that I've some people might give me some flack for this, but I'm with Spatry on this one, where most people, when they want Linux, if their computer can handle it, I'll put Manjaro on their system, and I've had no complaints so far. I mean, the thing is that like rolling releases at one time maybe were a little unstable, but I think Solus and Manjaro proved that Solus is they're their own independent rolling release, and they're pretty rock solid. And Manjaro is based on Arch. It's a rolling release, and I mean, you got to think about it. The average user, what are they really going to install from the AUR? Google Chrome, maybe. You might need a Broadcom chipset driver. I think that's only available in the AUR for Arch, but I think Manjaro might have them in their repositories. They have their own repositories, Manjaro. Some things you won't find in the vanilla Arch repositories. But yeah, I mean, the average user isn't going to be installing, crazy apps that are all going to blow up on them. They're going to be installing apps that are pretty well maintained by their communities. And so I don't think you have too much to worry about in that regard. And you can put Manjaro to run on the on an LTS kernel. It doesn't have to force kernel updates. And so I mean, I think for better or worse, I think that rolling is the way of the future. Windows 10 is kind of a rolling release. Chrome OS is a rolling release. I don't know about Mac. I haven't touched Mac in a while, but I mean, I think for better or worse, and I'm not saying that I think rolling is the best for everybody. I mean, there might be some situations where you don't want that, but I think it's proven to be like where things are going. But that's just my take on it. The Ubuntu development branch, is that the 6-month release cycle? Or do they have like a separate actual developers branch? Yeah, because I've heard that like Fedora's borderline rolling, I would say. But I wouldn't run Fedora just because certain things are tough to get. I'm sure you can get whatever you're looking for any distro, but some distros is more readily available for. And as far as Fedora goes, every 6 months you come up with an update. And back when I used fixed releases, whenever I used the distro's in-house upgrader, right, the tool to get it from one version to the next, it always left a mess behind. Every time I've used one of those updaters, like let's say you have Ubuntu 19.04 and you want to update to 19.10. Well, the last time I did that, I think it was 2014, so it would have been maybe 14.04 to 14.10. Anyway, it left a mess behind, and I noticed a significant bogging down on my system, and it left pieces of the older version behind. And I ended up wiping the system and installing the new version anyway. And so that's one of the things that I like about a rolling release, is I don't have to worry about that anymore. And the Fedora updater did the same thing. Left pieces, bogged my system down from the older version. And so if I'm going to run a thing like Fedora, I'd rather go rolling. Yeah, that might be true. I think that's part of it. But I'm talking like Fedora left behind old repositories, I think. Yeah, because I think it wasn't a recent one. Fedora has a new version every 6 months, so I mean it's hard to say exactly what version I was using back then. But it left repositories from the previous version on my system, and the next time I went to update it, it couldn't even contact those repositories, and it was having problems. And so I just, you know, yeah, yeah. That's one of the issues I had, and I've had issues with Arch, similar issues like that with Arch, where the mirror list got outdated, and I just had to go pull the new mirror list down and run rank mirrors or whatever, and it's back up and running. It's running just fine. Yeah, yeah. Now I would say it's easily fixed, but back then I was kind of still fumbling around the whole Linux field, and so I didn't really know how to do that at the time, and I don't think that a average user would either. And so I think for um, like yeah, that's just my experience with it, and I've come to appreciate the idea of the rolling release because I don't have to wipe my system every 6 months every time a new version comes out. If anything were to happen with Arch and it were to scorn me to the point where I'm done with Arch family, like it hasn't happened yet. I don't see it happening anytime soon. But it could. So I've thought of a contingency plan that if anything happens to Arch, my backup is OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. That's probably what I would migrate to if Arch ever did something completely unforgivable for me. Just because I don't know, I like to just know that my system is gonna be running, and I like the idea of set it and forget it. And this system I update like maybe once or twice a day. I'll reboot it if I see a kernel come through, a new kernel. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I always reinstalled it. I mean that's a project too. I mean that could take like the whole day. Like if to get all the programs that I like, for me to get a base Arch install up and running, it takes me, well, alright, see ya, Eric. I'll catch you maybe tomorrow, or what is it? No, on Saturday, Biddle, right? I'll try to hop on. I'll try to hop on the Biddle, as it's Arch week. I gotta jump on to Biddle this week and talk about how I run Arch, by the way. And during the live stream, it took between the chat and going off into the weeds and conversations and stuff, I looked at the stream, it took about 3 hours. But that's with explaining everything I'm doing and chatting up with the room, which that was the idea, right? That was the idea of the stream. But that took 3 hours. So like, if I wasn't distracted by anything and I was just sitting here installing it, it would take me maybe about an hour, maybe less, to get the base install going with the GUI and everything. It'll take me another hour about to get all the applications that I use installed again. And so I'm just thinking, like, what if I had to do that every 6 months when a new version comes out? Just have to reinstall the system, get all the programs that I use again. And I'm just glad I don't gotta use that anymore. I just don't gotta do that anymore. You know, lazy Ben is happy with Arch. But anyways, like I said, this is gonna be a short stream because I do have to be up early tomorrow, so I'm probably gonna hop off soon anyway. Tomorrow, if I get some time, I get off work at 12, so maybe sometime afternoon. I'll go through my initial setup of Arch. I put a vote into the chat during the install, and I only got one vote from the pizza loving nerd. He voted for cinnamon, so I installed cinnamon. So I'll go through setting up cinnamon to make it, you know, a tolerable desktop environment for myself. So with that, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Good night.